Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live here this morning. And we're hoping you're having a great start to your day. I'll wait for a few folks to come on and say hello. Okay, Ruby, you're first. Good morning to you. John, our dear friend. Elgin, Illinois. Colleen, good morning. Donna, good morning to you. Nice to have you on. Rosalinda, of course, we love you. Michael, Wawa, and Mark Anthony, and Nick from our staff. Jordan from Tennessee. Lise, good morning. Nellie, good to have you on with us. Micheline, thanks for coming on. Stacy, good morning. Linda, are you the Linda? Bruno, good morning. Helena and Dale, thanks for coming on this morning. Wendy from Markham, Wanda and Jane. Doc, how are you? Good morning. Madeleine from Timiskaming, Colleen, Judy, Catherine, Springdale, Newfoundland, IT, Unionville, Sherry, and from coast to coast, Nova Scotia, Anne and Karen, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Elizabeth, good morning to you, and Jerry from Quebec, and Yolande, bonjour, good to have you on, Yolande. Rosemary, how are you? Bruno. Okay, a couple of more. Let's get going. Susan and Evelyn. Okay. And Lee Ann from Capriol, right in our backyard. Well, good morning. Harriet and Lorraine. And her husband. Hello. Dinah and Sandra. Good morning, everyone. Francine de Nakina, how are you? Annette and Jean from South River. That's a beautiful spot. Donna, good morning. Vonda, PEI. Okay, now, I've entitled this Food Porn. This article that I read in the JAMA, which is the Journal of American Medical Association, literally makes me sick. It's crazy. The study says that over 90% of children from 2 to 19, 90% live on junk food. Live on junk food. 70% of the children in the United States of America are obese. 70%. And the food industry, and this is what JAMA was saying, is the culprit because of food porn. Advertising to children, advertising to their parents. And they're not stupid, because especially, and this is what the article was saying, that especially in the time of COVID, the food industry doubled down. They doubled down on their marketing to children, knowing that children mostly were at home, watching TV, and food porn. They saw it, these kids. And guys, like, I can't tell you how angry that makes me. We have no idea. We really have no idea. I mean, the world has no idea. I know you guys do. The world has no idea what we're doing to these children. What this diet of crappy carbohydrates, high in sugar, high in, not just sugar, high in the Frankenstein sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and combining that with bad oils, what it's doing to our children, my grandchildren, and now my great-grandchildren. It's unbelievable that this world has, I've said this in the past, the world threw kids under the bus. More worried, my generation, and we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. We're more worried about saving grandpa and grandma than children. Because the children never had to worry about children and this pandemic. They never had to worry about children. But they threw children under the bus. And this is one of the things that has happened is this food porn. Now, I'm going to say something here that I think you will understand. When they say, I didn't say it. The American Journal of the American Medical Association has said it. I'm shocked that they would even report on this, but they are. When they're saying that 70% of children in the United States, and bring it to Canada, what's the difference? What they're saying is, down the road. And let me just give you a couple of things that these food porn, they do. I actually saw it on our site, on the Martin Clinic site the other day. I don't know if the person meant to say it or not, but it's one of the marketing tools that the food industry does. Everything in moderation. The journal actually said that that's one of their marketing tools. It's not like the food industry doesn't know that sugar is bad. Of course they know that. But they can't say it. Because they lace, like poison, they lace almost every food with added sugars, almost all of them. Read your labels. Teach your kids, parents and grandparents, teach your kids to read labels. It's not hard. All they got to do is look at how much sugar is added. Don't teach them calories. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything. See how many carbs are in the food and how much sugar is added. And one of their advertising tricks is, in moderation. In moderation, everything is good. No, it's not. I was reading another study this weekend on within 2 weeks. Let me read it to you. A new paper on just high sugar in 2 weeks. Here's what it does. In 2 weeks of consuming a fair amount of sugar, so kids, when they live on treats, they live on crappy dinner, they live on noodles, and they live on white rice, and they live on cereal, and they live on juice, that's high sugar. 2 weeks. This is what they're showing. Study has shown. Especially high fructose corn syrup. This is the worst of all. Like I said, you know me, I've been attacking high fructose corn syrup since it was invented. And remember, it was invented. It's not in nature. High fructose corn syrup is not natural. It's man-made in a vat. It's man-made, it's industrialized sugar. It's cheap. It's highly, highly addictive. Like cocaine. You think the food industry isn't smart? They get kids and they hook them. Grandma, the food industry is not aimed at, they're not aiming at you. They're not aiming at me. They figure they're not going to be able to change the habits of old goats like me. You know what they do? They advertise food porn. That's what I call it. Food porn to kids. In 2 weeks, listen to this paper. Increase insulin resistance. Increase triglycerides. Dangerous fat balls floating through your blood vessels, and increase 2 weeks, increase in uric acid. Now, I'm going to do a whole study, teach you this uric acid, okay? Because most people think of uric acid and gout. And yeah, that can happen, but most people don't get gout with high levels of uric acid. But it's very inflammatory. I call it uric acid without gout. Anyway, we'll go into it teaching. I need you to understand how that happens. But at the end of the day, it's bad food. Now listen. It's not just sugar again. Remember, like high fructose corn syrup, yeah, but the worst combination, what I call rat chow. If in the labs when they do tests on mice or rats, why do they do that, by the way? Why do they use rats? Okay, or mice? Because their life cycle is very short. So when they want to do something and get results, like to find out what's happening, they need it in they don't want to look at this stuff over a couple of years or whatever. They want it in a short term. So when they change their diet, they get results right away from the laboratory rats or mice. And you know what they use to fatten them up when they want to get these mice obese? It's very simple. They use what we call rat chow. And that's not just sugar. It's sugar with fat, crappy oils. They put it together and presto, you have obesity in mice in days. In days. But what they're not telling you, because when people think of obesity, they think, generally, oh, that's, they're inactive. Yeah, they're eating too much. But they don't know the consequences of it. What that does to the heart if your triglycerides are going up. What that does when your inflammatory markers are going up. Imagine children with a silent inflammation because they have insulin resistance. Imagine our kids, our grandchildren. Their health is at stake. It's unbelievable. It's food porn. It is demonic. It's just unbelievable. And like I say, there's such a diversion going on today. You know, it's almost like smoke and mirrors. You know that when the magician came and how did he fool you, right? With smoke and mirrors, right? The old saying. But the world is fooling us with smoke and mirrors in food porn because they're, and what they're doing is everything has to do with this bug that's going around the world. Like, have we never had a bug go around the world? Everything. I can't get over it. It's consumed the media, politicians, people. And what's happening is the food industry has taken advantage of it. And they have upped their food porn to kids. And because parents are mostly ignorant of what's happening, it's sad. It's sad. And, you know, all I can do is bring this to you. And, you know, I have no influence over your children or grandchildren. And you do. But, you know, how much? Well, it's not going to be easy, guys. I tell you that right now. What I used to like is when I was in practice and I could get a child with ADD, autism, digestive issues, allergies, or whatever they came in with. Kids are smart. And, you know, once they finally get into a doctor's office, I used to talk to them. I said, listen, man, you're going to have to make some changes in your life. And it's not going to be easy. But I will promise you this one thing. You will not leave here with a plan to fail. You'll leave here with a plan to succeed. And I want you to understand it. And one thing you need to do, and I would show them, is here's how you read a label. And I had a cereal box. Ask my staff. I had a cereal box in my office. I kept it there. For years, I kept a cereal box to show kids, parents, here's how much sugar is in that cereal. They used to be shocked. That's the one I buy at Costco for my kids. And they're all the same pretty well. And I used to say, well, now you might as well have a chocolate bar for breakfast. What's the difference? You're giving them orange juice? Why don't you just give them a Pepsi? What's the difference? Oh, Doc, I'd never give my child a Pepsi in the morning. No, but you're giving them orange juice. What's the difference? Dr. Martin, it's Tropicana. Who cares? It's got about 50 grams of sugar in it. In a glass. Your body doesn't know the difference. Your squirt gun, your pancreas, squirt gun, squirting insulin, goes crazy. And kids start their day with that. It's food porn, guys. It's food porn. And the long-term effects of this, I'm not a prophet, guys, nor the son of one. Okay, just want you to know that. Everything I predicted just about when it came to this virus, I was wrong. I couldn't, like, here we are, we're still going. We're still going. But I'm wrong about that. But here's what I think I'm right about. And listen, I'm not the only one that says it. By the year 2030, now, that's not that far away, right? By the year 2030, here is what the World Health Organization has said. Now, they're not always right. But what they're predicting is a pandemic of diabetes. It's a pandemic of diabetes that's coming. And as I have mentioned to you in the Reset book, at the root cause of the increases in cardiovascular disease, the increases in cancer, the increase like crazy in Alzheimer's is caused by metabolic syndrome, which is insulin resistance caused by eating crappy carbohydrates and crappy oils. In the middle aisles of your grocery store, packaged goods, fast foods, kids are being weaned on it. And the food industry is licking their chops. And what they've done is they bought out. They're not stupid. They bought out a profession. They bought it. They bought a profession. Imagine that. It's like the pharmaceutical industry have bought a profession. Bought and paid for medicine. The old-time doctors would roll over in their grave. But they've been bought. And you know what? The food industry is not stupid. They bought another profession, that is the dietitians. They bought them. And their lingo for a dietitian is moderation. They got the food chart upside down. They have the pyramid with carbs, grains, and they got at the top of the pyramid, the very little narrow, you gotta be careful with the dairy and the meat and the eggs. Like, don't eat too much of that. You need the bottom of the pyramid where you need to eat. But I'm telling you guys, it's propaganda, and the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry are huge. And what they do, and I used to say this in the 1970s, but today it's 1,000 times worse. What they've done is they completely buy social media. They buy social media. So you have venues that will cancel people that go against that. From YouTube to Facebook to Twitter. Because they buy. I've never seen such propaganda in my life, food porn. And I am terrified for my grandchildren. Terrified for my grandchildren and the world they're growing up in. and the food industry. They doubled down. They doubled down in through this last 18 months. They've doubled down. They're just hooking people. It's like, you get hooked on drugs. I don't know if you've ever met addicts before. I spent a lot of time, over 35 years, in the what they call the prison ministry. I'm just a volunteer. I had 35 years of it. And I had a heart for people incarcerated. And you know what I found? It was well over 95%. They were all addicts. All of them. They'd steal off their grandma to keep up their bad addiction. There was nothing they wouldn't do to be, and and this is why it's so important, guys. It's so important that when you look at food, and if you're not an addict, you might not understand what an addict goes through with food. Because some people, they're pretty good. When they're hungry, they eat. When they're not hungry, they don't eat. They don't know what an addict is. They're always hungry. A carboholic is always hungry. And like for some people, that's why they still today talk about calories. Dietitians do it. They talk about calories. But when you're an addict, what? Calories. I can have a huge meal and an hour later I'm hungry. That's an addict, guys. They're so messed up hormonally. Their leptin, to tell them that they are full, they have what they call leptin resistance. And this is happening in children. Children are eating when they don't need to eat. They're not hungry, but they're starving. They don't realize that it's hormones. And parents, of course, they're never taught that. And if they would only change the fuel, whenever the fuel, whenever, you got to understand me, okay? If you follow me around and I have a running commentary, you know what I mean? If I see someone, a child, that's obese, you know what I say in my head? That child, obviously is a carboholic. But I go deeper than that. They have messed up hormones already. They have insulin resistance and they have leptin resistance. Leptin is telling you you're full. Theirs don't tell them they're full. And their furnace, when you see a child that's bigger, their leptin resistance, okay, they have resistance to the hormone leptin. And they're eating the wrong fuel. I always say in my head, these kids, they never, guys, never. You can say never with 99.9999. Never get anywhere near obesity. I'm going to say it slowly so you get it. When anyone, but let me, because today's on children. If you see a child that you don't have to do a BMI or anything. You don't have to do that. You just observe with your eyeballs. What do you see? I see a big kid. Okay. 100% of the time, they are eating the wrong fuel. They're not getting enough eggs, meat, and cheese. They're just not. They're never getting fat on cheese. A child never, ever gets fat eating eggs, meat, or cheese. Never. Oh, you're eating too much eggs, meat, and cheese. That's why you're putting on weight. No. No. The food industry would have you believe that. Where do you think the whole cholesterol thing came out of? But when you eat the wrong fuel, you are changing your hormones inside your body. You're going to get not only insulin resistance, you're going to get leptin resistance, meaning that you're stoking your fire with the wrong fuel, paper and twigs instead of logs. And that messes up all their hormones. And the JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association, agrees with me. Wow. And they're saying from 2 to 19. 2 to 19. And oh, by the way, mommy, when you eat wrong, when baby is in placenta, you're already putting him on that road. Guys, I'm telling you, it's food porn. If you take out your Bible and read in Matthew chapter 7, it talks about two roads. Jesus talked about two roads, the broad road and the narrow road. It's one of my favorite illustrations in the Bible, guys. Now, this is spiritual roads, but I'm telling you, I use it in a physical sense that 99% of the people are going down the wrong road. And they have no clue. Because they've been lied to, deceived, food porn. And when I look at the future, as limited as I am, when I look at the future, and I go, you guys, you haven't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen nothing yet of what's going to happen. It's going to collapse. Our economy is healthcare. Because it's not healthcare at all. It's disease care. Wait till they have to get these kids. Like, guys, I'm going to tell you something. Diabetes is the last thing that happens. Even though 50% of the population are diabetic or more than that, 88% of the population are unwell metabolically. And kids are fattening up their livers, increasing their triglycerides, increasing their insulin resistance. We're not going to be able to pay for all of it. I don't care if you live in Canada or the United States. It's not sustainable. It's just not. And you know what? Another thing, and I'm going to finish with this. You know what really bugs me? In case you don't know, really bugs me through this last 18 months. Nobody, you guys do it. But nobody in the mainstream media, very few in medicine, are talking about prevention. They're just not. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If I didn't see it with my own eyes. Food porn. The marketing to our children and our grandchildren, and for me, my great-grandchildren. Unreal. So I get excited, guys. I can't help it. I want you, at least you guys know, and then we will go out like little John the Baptist into our homes, the people that we can influence, and we'll try and get to them. And I talk to people quite a bit, and someone was talking to me the other day and said, because, I don't know, obviously, guys, like you see, like right now we're 502 and 507 people are dropping off, okay? That's for the live in the morning. So I don't know if you can see that, but I see it, okay? So we're thankful for the people in the morning, okay? But I want to tell you, by the end of the day, it's 7,000 or 8,000 people that have watched this. And then, so about, 50,000 a week. And then made into podcast. And another 50,000 or so a week are watching this. So, about 100,000 every week. Isn't that incredible? So that's what I can do. And you can help by sharing it. You can share it right on Facebook or tell people to get the podcast downloaded. It's amazing because, like I said, I've been talking to people and unless I see your name, and I love that, going at the end of the program and at the start of the program saying hi, and I'll go right after I finish this and say hi to you, okay? You'll see another, I don't know, like a flag or whatever. I was just saying, thanks for coming on. That's really what I want to tell you. I appreciate it. But there's a lot of people that don't put any commentary or whatever, but they're watching. I'm saying hello to you guys. You can share this too. Okay? And by the way, the book, The Reset, it's back. It's back in stock. Number 1 bestseller in Canada. Thank you for that. It's back in stock. 3rd print. Incredible. Incredible. Guys, you want to give a gift of life to a friend? Give them that book. Their health. And people, it's amazing. The comments we get when people, they make it a lifestyle. Wow, what happens to them? Okay, guys. Thanks for watching again. We love you dearly, and we'll talk to you soon.